Setting the stage, the Galactic Council chambers buzzed with tension as Ambassador Krell from the Vorthan Empire presented his findings. For months, long-range scouts had detected unusual energy signatures from a small blue planet in the outer rim of the galaxy, a world the locals called Earth. Council members, Krell announced, his voice echoing through the vast hall, "We have discovered a primitive civilization that shows concerning potential." The holographic display showed Earth rotating slowly, its continents clearly visible. Elder Thane, the ancient leader of the peaceful Alterian race, leaned forward in his floating chair. "What makes this world different from the thousands of other developing species we monitor?" Krell's expression darkened. They wage constant war among themselves, yet their technology advances at an impossible rate. In just 100 rotations, they went from primitive flying machines to splitting atoms. In another 50, they reached their own moon. The council erupted in whispers. Such rapid advancement was unheard of in galactic history. Most species took millennia to achieve basic spaceflight. Commander Rex of the militant Draxi Federation slammed his armored fist on his console. "So what? They're still trapped on one world. My fleet could gloss their entire planet in a single day. That's what concerns me," Krell continued. "Every projection shows they'll achieve faster-than-light travel within decades. But there's something else." The hologram shifted to show news feeds from Earth, wars, conflicts, and weapons of devastating power. They fight with nuclear weapons. They've built enough to destroy their world several times over, yet they continue building more. Elder Thane's ancient eyes widened. They possess world-ending weapons and still make war? This is most troubling. There's more, Krell said grimly. Our deep space listening posts have intercepted their entertainment transmissions. They create stories about fighting alien invasions, about never surrendering, about dying before accepting defeat. Their fictional heroes always find ways to overcome impossible odds. The Draxi commander laughed harshly. Fiction means nothing. When faced with real plasma cannons and gravity bombs, they'll surrender like all the others. But Dr. Vex, the chief xenobiologist, stood up with concern written across his scaled features. "Ambassador Krell, what do your behavioral analysts conclude about this species?" "That's why I called this emergency session," Krell replied. "Every model, every simulation, every psychological profile reaches the same conclusion. These humans don't just fight to win. They fight because they cannot conceive of not fighting. They have a saying, 'Give me liberty or give me death.' Our experts believe they mean it literally." The council chamber fell silent. In thousands of years of galactic expansion, every species had eventually chosen survival over resistance when faced with superior force. The concept of a species that would rather die than submit was alien to them. Commander Rex stood up, his battle armor gleaming under the chamber's lights. "I don't care about their psychology. The Draxi have conquered 47 worlds. None have ever successfully resisted us. I volunteer to lead the expedition to claim this Earth." Elder Thane raised a trembling hand. "Perhaps we should consider peaceful contact first. If they are as dangerous as Ambassador Krell suggests, they're primitives." Rex shouted. "They barely have chemical rockets. My dreadnoughts have shields that could withstand their strongest weapons. I say we take their world before they become a real threat." Dr. Vex stepped forward. "I must strongly advise against any hostile action. These humans show psychological patterns we've never encountered. They're unpredictable, adaptable, and apparently incapable of accepting defeat." "Every simulation suggests—" "Your simulations are worthless," Rex interrupted. "I've seen real combat. I know what breaks an enemy's will. These humans will be no different." The debate raged for hours, but eventually the council voted. The Draxi Federation would be authorized to subjugate Earth, but with strict orders to minimize casualties and preserve the planet's resources. As the session ended, Elder Thane approached Dr. Vex in the corridor. "You seem deeply troubled, old friend." "I am," Vex replied, his voice barely a whisper. "In all my years studying alien species, I've never seen behavioral patterns like these humans display. They're not just warriors. They're something entirely new. Commander Rex is walking into a trap he doesn't understand." "What kind of trap?" Dr. Vex looked out through the massive viewport at the stars beyond. "The kind where the prey is more dangerous than the predator realizes. I fear we're about to learn why some species survive and thrive while others fade into history. And I'm terribly afraid we're about to find ourselves on the wrong side of that equation." Asterisk. The invasion begins 3 months later. The Draxi War Fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. Commander Rex stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Iron Fist, watching the small blue world grow larger on his screens. 50 massive warships surrounded him, enough firepower to level continents. All ships. "This is command," Rex announced over the fleet channel. "Remember, we want this planet intact. Disable their defenses, destroy any resistance, but preserve the infrastructure and population for slave labor." Captain Vorn, Rex's second-in-command, studied the tactical displays. "Sir, we're detecting thousands of artificial satellites around the planet. Some appear to be weapons platforms." Rex laughed. "Primitive chemical rockets with nuclear warheads. Our shields can absorb anything they throw at us. Begin the approach." As the fleet moved toward Earth, the humans detected them immediately. Every space agency, military installation, and observatory on the planet suddenly came alive with activity. Within hours, emergency broadcasts filled the airwaves in dozens of languages dotted the Pentagon. General Hayes stood before a room full of world leaders connected by video link. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a drill. We have confirmed alien contact, and their intentions appear hostile. The fleet consists of approximately 50 large vessels, each one bigger than our largest aircraft carrier." The president asked the question everyone was thinking. "What are our options, General?" Hayes took a deep breath. "Every nuclear power on Earth is now coordinating their response. We're also activating all classified defense projects, including the orbital defense platforms we've been secretly building for the last decade. Will it be enough?" The Prime Minister of Britain asked. "Honestly, probably not. But we're going to make them pay for every inch." Meanwhile, Commander Rex was growing impatient. His fleet had reached Earth's orbital space, and the primitive humans were doing something unexpected. They weren't surrendering. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Dax from the communication station, "we're receiving thousands of transmissions from the planet. Most are military communications, but we're also detecting civilian broadcasts." "Play one of the civilian feeds," Rex ordered. The bridge speakers crackled to life with a human voice. "This is Radio Free Earth, broadcasting to anyone who can hear us. The aliens are here, just like in the movies, but we're not going down without a fight. To any humans listening, remember who we are. Remember our history. We've faced worse odds before and won. We beat the Nazis, we survived the Cold War, and we'll survive this too. They may have better ships, but they don't know what they're dealing with. We're humans, and we don't quit." Captain Vorn looked confused. "Sir, why aren't they trying to surrender?" "Every species we've encountered immediately begins negotiating once they see our fleet." Rex frowned. Dr. Vex mentioned they might be different. "No matter. Begin orbital bombardment of their military installations. Show them our power." The Draxi fleet opened fire, plasma beams lancing down from orbit to strike military bases around the world. But instead of the expected collapse of human resistance, something else happened. The attacks seemed to strengthen human resolve. Within minutes of the first strikes, every remaining military installation on Earth opened fire simultaneously. Thousands of missiles launched from hidden silos, submarine positions, and mobile launchers. The sky filled with contrails as Earth's entire nuclear arsenal rose to meet the alien fleet. Shields, holding, reported the weapons officer as the first. Nuclear explosions bloomed against the fleet's protective barriers. But, sir, there are more missiles incoming. A lot more. Rex watched in amazement as wave after wave of human weapons reached his fleet. The explosions were primitive but numerous, and his shield generators were beginning to strain under the constant bombardment. Sir, Vorn said urgently, we're detecting movement from their orbital platforms. They're not just satellites. They're weapons platforms armed with what appears to be kinetic projectiles. Before Rex could respond, metal rods the size of telephone poles began raining down on his fleet from Earth's secret orbital defense network. The tungsten projectiles, accelerated by magnetic launchers, struck with the force of nuclear weapons, but with no radiation signature. Impossible. Rex shouted as his fleet's shields began failing under the combined assault. How did primitives develop kinetic orbital weapons? The answer came from an intercepted human military transmission. All units, this is command. Project Thor is active. Rods from God are falling. All ground forces, prepare for immediate counteroffensive. Show these bastards what happens when you mess with Earth. Rex realized with growing horror that he had made a terrible miscalculation. These humans weren't surrendering. They were fighting back with everything they had, using weapons and tactics his analysts had never predicted. Earth's defenses unleash. Hell, the battle for Earth had begun in earnest, and Commander Rex was learning the hard way why Dr. Vex had warned against underestimating humanity. His mighty fleet, which had conquered 47 worlds without serious opposition, was taking heavy damage from what he had dismissed as primitive weapons. Shield generators on decks 7 through 12 are offline. Captain Vorn shouted over the alarms, blaring throughout the Iron Fist. The humans are targeting our weak points with surgical precision. Rex stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The orbital kinetic weapons were bad enough, but now human fighter jets were somehow reaching orbital altitude, using technologies that shouldn't exist. Sleek aircraft with impossible maneuverability weaved between his ships, firing experimental plasma weapons that seemed to have been reverse-engineered from crashed alien technology. Sir, how is this possible? Lieutenant Dax asked as another wave of human fighters screamed past the viewport. Our intelligence said they barely had spaceflight capability. They've been lying to us, Rex growled. Or lying to themselves. Look at those fighters. That's not human technology, but it's not ours either. They've been preparing for this day. Down on Earth's surface, the truth was both simpler and more complex. For decades, human governments had been secretly preparing for the possibility of alien invasion. Every UFO incident, every recovered technology, every hint of extraterrestrial contact had been studied, reverse-engineered, and WEAPONIZED in the depths of Area 51. Dr. Miller watched his life's work finally being put to use. The Aurora-class fighters now engaging the alien fleet incorporated technology from 3 different crashed alien vessels, combined with human ingenuity and manufacturing capability. Status report. General Hayes demanded as he entered the underground command center. Better than expected, sir, Dr. Miller replied. The orbital defense platforms are performing beyond specifications. The alien shields are designed to handle energy weapons, but they're struggling with kinetic projectiles. And our Aurora fighters are giving their interceptors more than they can handle. Casualties? Hayes asked grimly. Heavy, but not as bad as projected. The aliens seem reluctant to target civilian populations directly. They're trying to minimize damage to the planet's infrastructure. Hayes nodded. That's their mistake. They want to conquer us, not destroy us. But they don't understand. We'd rather burn the whole planet down than let them have it. Back in space, Rex was beginning to understand this truth. His fleet had superior firepower, better shields, and more advanced technology. But the humans were fighting with a desperate fury that his computer models couldn't account for. Every time his forces gained an advantage, the humans would sacrifice entire squadrons to deny it to them. "Sir," Vorn reported, "the humans have activated some kind of kamikaze protocol. Their fighters are ramming our ships when they run out of ammunition." Rex watched in horror as a damaged human fighter, its weapons depleted and engines failing, aimed itself directly at one of his destroyers. The pilot could have ejected, could have tried to escape, but instead chose to turn his aircraft into a guided missile. The fighter punched through the scene, destroyers weakened shields, and exploded deep within its hull. The alien ship listed to one side, venting atmosphere and debris into space. "They're insane," Rex whispered. "What kind of species sacrifices themselves so readily?" His answer came from another intercepted human broadcast, this one from a pilot whose voice was steady despite the chaos around him. "Alpha Squadron, this is Ghost Rider. I'm hit bad and going down. Tell my kids their daddy fought the good fight. I'm taking this alien bastard with me. For Earth." The transmission ended in static as another human fighter gave its life to damage a Draxi cruiser. Rex realized that everything Dr. Vex had warned about was coming true. These humans didn't fight like any other species the Draxi had encountered. They didn't calculate odds or seek survival above all else. They fought like cornered animals, with the fury of a species that had evolved from predators. "Sir," the communications officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's being broadcast on all frequencies." "Put it through," Rex ordered. The voice that filled the bridge was calm, authoritative, and absolutely unyielding. "This is the President of the United States of America, speaking for all the nations of Earth. You came to our world thinking we were weak, thinking we would surrender without a fight. You were wrong. We don't know who you are or why you're here, but we know what you want. Our freedom, our planet, our lives. You can't have them. We've faced tyrants before and buried them all. You're just the latest in a long line. So hear this clearly. Get off our planet, or we'll do to you what we've done to every other bully in human history. We'll destroy you completely." Rex felt a chill run through his scaled spine. For the first time in his military career, he was afraid. When predators meet apex predators, the war for Earth had been raging for 6 hours, and Commander Rex was facing a reality no Draxi commander had ever confronted: the possibility of defeat. Half his fleet was damaged or destroyed, and the humans showed no signs of slowing their relentless assault. "Sir," Captain Vorn reported, his voice tight with strain, "the humans have revealed another weapons system. They're launching what appears to be modified civilian spacecraft armed with fusion bombs." Rex watched in amazement as converted passenger liners, cargo haulers, and even private yachts rose from Earth's surface. The humans had apparently armed everything that could fly, turning their entire civilian space fleet into improvised warships. "They're using suicide tactics with civilian vessels," Vorn continued. "These aren't military personnel. Our scans show families aboard some of these ships." Families? Rex couldn't comprehend what he was seeing. They're bringing their offspring into battle? The answer came from an intercepted human transmission. "Mama, are we really going to fight the aliens?" a child's voice asked. "Yes, sweetie," came the reply. "Sometimes you have to stand up to bullies, no matter how big they are. We're going to show these aliens that humans protect their home." Rex realized with growing horror that he wasn't just fighting human military forces. He was fighting an entire species that had decided to resist. Every man, woman, and child on the planet had apparently chosen death over surrender. "Sir, urgent message from the Council," Lieutenant Dax announced. "Dr. Vex is requesting immediate communication. The elderly scientist's face appeared on the main screen, his expression grave. "Commander Rex, you must withdraw immediately. My analysis of the battle data shows patterns that are ... unprecedented. We're winning." "Doctor," Rex lied, trying to maintain his composure. "Their weapons are primitive. Their weapons are irrelevant," Dr. Vex replied sharply. "I'm not talking about their technology. I'm talking about their behavior. Commander, in 30,000 years of galactic civilization, no species has ever fought the way these humans are fighting. They're not just resisting conquest, they're treating this as an extinction event." As if to prove the doctor's point, a new development appeared on the tactical screens. Human ships were emerging from the dark side of their moon, not the crude chemical rockets Rex expected, but sleek vessels that looked disturbingly familiar. "Sir," the weapons officer reported, "those ships are using our own technology." The energy signatures matched Draxi power systems. "Impossible," Rex breathed, but even as he said it, he knew it was true. The humans had somehow reverse-engineered Draxi technology from his own damaged ships. In the middle of a battle, while under constant assault, they had managed to adapt and deploy alien technology. Asterisk. Dr. Vex's voice cut through Rex's shock. "This is what I tried to warn the Council about. Humans don't just fight, they adapt. They learn. They turn their enemies' strengths against them. You're not fighting a primitive species, Commander. You're fighting apex predators who have been honing their skills in constant warfare for thousands of years." The truth of this statement became clear as the human built. Ships opened fire with modified Draxi weapons. But instead of using the technology as intended, the humans had somehow improved upon it. Their plasma cannons fired faster, their shields held stronger, and their tactics were utterly unpredictable. "They're not following any known combat doctrine," Captain Vorn observed as human ships executed maneuvers that should have been impossible. "It's like they're making up new tactics in real time." "Because they are," Rex realized with dawning understanding. "Dr. Vex, these humans, they're not just warriors. They're innovators. They don't just fight the same war over and over. They invent new ways to fight every time." The doctor nodded grimly. "Exactly. Every other species we've encountered fights according to established patterns. But humans? They've spent their entire evolutionary history fighting new threats, adapting to new challenges, creating new solutions. You're not fighting an army, Commander. You're fighting evolution itself." As if summoned by their conversation, a new transmission reached the Draxi fleet. This time it wasn't from Earth's government or military. It was from their scientists. "Attention, alien fleet. This is Dr. Thompson of the International Space Consortium. We've analyzed your technology, reverse-engineered your weapons, and mass-produced improvements. We're also broadcasting your technological specifications to every nation on Earth. In approximately 2 hours, we'll have 3 times as many ships as you do, all armed with superior versions of your own weapons. You have one chance to surrender. We suggest you take it." Rex felt something he had never experienced before: pure terror. These humans weren't just fighting back, they were winning. And they were doing it by turning the Drax's own superiority against them. Victory and its consequences. Commander Rex stood in the ruins of his flagship's bridge, watching his once mighty invasion fleet flee Earth's solar system in complete disarray. Of the 50 ships that had arrived with such confidence, only 12 remained operational, and all of them were running for their lives from an enemy they had completely underestimated. "Sir, the humans are not pursuing," Captain Vorn reported, his voice hollow with defeat. "They're letting us go." Rex couldn't decide if this was mercy or contempt. The humans had demonstrated they could destroy the remainder of his fleet if they chose to, but instead they were allowing the survivors to escape. The message was clear: "You're not worth the ammunition. Open a channel to the Galactic Council," Rex ordered. Emergency priority. Within minutes, the familiar sight of the council chambers appeared on his screen. Elder Thane's ancient face showed deep concern, while Dr. Vex looked like someone whose worst nightmares had come true. "Report, Commander," Elder Thane demanded. "Why are you retreating? Where is the rest of your fleet?" Rex took a shuddering breath. "Destroyed, honored Elder. The humans. They're not what we thought. They're not what anyone could have imagined." The council chamber erupted in shocked whispers. The Draxi Federation had never lost a fleet. Not in 1,000 years of conquest. Dr. Vex leaned forward. "Tell them what happened, Commander." "All of it. They were ready for us," Rex began, his voice barely steady. "Not just militarily, psychologically, technologically, strategically. They had weapons we didn't know about, defenses our intelligence never detected. But that's not the worst part. What could be worse than losing an entire fleet?" demanded Counselor Morix of the Hegemony. "They learned from us while we fought," Rex replied. "In the middle of battle, while under constant attack, they reverse-engineered our technology and improved upon it. They turned our own weapons against us, but made them better. In 6 hours, they went from primitive chemical rockets to fielding starships superior to our own." The council sat in stunned silence. The concept was beyond their understanding. Elder Thane's voice trembled as he spoke. "Are you saying these humans are more technologically advanced than we believed?" "No," Dr. Vex interrupted. "That's not what he's saying at all. Commander Rex, tell them about the human psychology. Tell them why your fleet really lost." Rex closed his eyes, remembering the horror of those final hours. "They don't fight to win, honored counselors. They fight because they literally cannot conceive of not fighting. We offered them surrender, offered to spare their lives, offered them positions in our empire. They responded by arming their children and sending them into battle. They're young?" Elder Thane was appalled. "They brought their offspring into combat?" "Not just their offspring," Rex continued, his voice growing stronger as he relived the nightmare. "They brought everyone. Civilians, scientists, elderly, injured, every single human capable of holding a weapon joined the fight. They didn't just resist us. They transformed their entire species into a weapon pointed at our fleet." Dr. Vex nodded gravely. "This confirms every projection I made. Humans aren't just a warrior species. They're a species that weaponizes everything, including themselves. Their entire culture, their art, their philosophy, their science. Everything is ultimately focused on surviving impossible odds. But surely now that they know we exist, they'll be more reasonable," Counselor Morix suggested desperately. "Perhaps we can establish trade relationships, cultural exchanges." Rex laughed bitterly. "You still don't understand. Before I left, I intercepted their military communications. They're already building a fleet. Not just any fleet. A fleet designed specifically to hunt down and destroy every Draxi ship in space. They studied our technology, our tactics, our weaknesses, and they're building ships whose only purpose is to kill us." The council chamber fell silent once more, the full implications beginning to sink in. "There's more," Rex continued relentlessly. "They're also working on faster-than-light communications, improved faster-than-light travel, and weapons designed specifically to counter every known galactic military technology. They've taken everything we taught them about galactic civilization and turned it into a roadmap for galactic conquest." Dr. Vex spoke into the silence. "Counselors, we have created our own nemesis. In trying to conquer humanity, we've awakened something that should have remained sleeping. We've given them our technology, shown them our capabilities, and proven that we're a threat to their existence. The humans will not forget this. They will not forgive this. And based on everything I know about their species, they will not stop until every alien civilization that supported this invasion has paid what they consider the ultimate price." Elder Thane's ancient voice was barely a whisper. "What have we done?" The answer came from Earth itself, broadcast on frequencies that reached across the galaxy. This is Earth. We know you're out there now. We know you wanted to conquer us. We know some of you will try again. So hear this, all alien civilizations, we're coming. We're going to find you. We're going to judge you. And if you're found wanting, we're going to show you exactly why you should have left humanity alone. The age of human expansion begins now. The galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk.